Hey everybody, it's Kendra. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. So my video today is going to be all about migraines because they really suck, and I am a migraine sufferer. I do not get them super often, but I do want to share my experience with migraines and all the different things I have tried for them and what I do now in order to attempt to prevent them and also to deal with them when I do get them. I do feel like, I mean, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx myself, but I do feel like I'm at a pretty good point with dealing with them and preventing them and knowing what my triggers are, so it's cool. I've had my periods where I definitely have a lot of migraines and it's horrible, and you just feel like your body's just letting you down and you like have this terrible quality of life because you cannot function. Now, when I say migraine, I'm not talking about like just a headache. I mean, yes, I will get headaches. I generally feel though now, like if I'm gonna get a headache, it always ends up being like a full-blown migraine that lasts for like 2, sometimes 3 days. Generally when I get a migraine, I have the aura at first, like the weird visual stuff, and then it'll be, you know, a pretty nasty headache for 2 or 3 days, super nauseous, I'm super tired, very sensitive to light, to sound, to temperature as well. So yeah, it really knocks you out for a couple days, at least mine do. So anywho, migraine video, I hope this video stays kind of organized because this is like the 5th time I've attempted to film it, and it's just, yeah. So my very first migraine happened when I was 21. I'm 34 now, so yes, I've been dealing with migraines for 13 years of my life. Wow, how fun. Anyway, I was 21, I was in business school, and I had just gotten back from studying abroad in France. So, of course, you know, you miss France and you decide it would be a wise idea in the middle of the week to throw a big wine and cheese party. So I had a bunch of people over, ate a ton of cheese, drank a ton of wine, had a bunch of bread, and I felt fine. You know, back in the day when you're 21, you don't feel hungover the next day. At least I didn't. Woke up, felt fine, went to class. And I remember sitting in class and I just started feeling weird. Like I started feeling very hot, and just like something funky was going on. Like I remember my vision was just weird, and that I was like, this is like, what is happening here? I do remember from my childhood hearing about migraines. I remember my mom talking about how she would have a migraine. Like she was a school teacher, so I remember her saying, yeah, like such and such teacher had to take my students, and I just turned off the light and put my head on my desk until the aura went away. So I was familiar with this term aura, but like until you've experienced it, you can't really understand it. So yeah, here I was sitting in this class, and mind you, it was a very small class. There were only like 25 kids in class, so it's not like I could just escape. Plus the teacher was kind of a psycho and like was very strict about attendance, so I knew I could not leave. So yeah, I just sucked it up for that 75-minute class, and I just remember not being able to see. Like I could see, I knew where I was, but it was almost like someone had taken glitter and like put glitter under my eyelids, and that was all I was seeing. It was just this like weird twinkling sensation. So yeah, made it through class, and then I ended up not going to the rest of my classes that day. I went home, and I remember walking home. I lived about a mile away from my class, and I remember walking home and thinking, this is really dangerous. Like I couldn't really, I just couldn't see. It was like I could see, but I couldn't, and I had to be very, very aware of what was going on and that the cars were stopped before I crossed the street. So that was my first migraine. I don't remember what I did to treat it. I think I probably just went home and maybe took some Advil and went to bed. Because obviously I didn't have migraine medication then. It was my first one. So yeah, that was my first one. I don't really remember getting too many more during college. But I definitely did have a prescription for migraine medication. So the first migraine med I ever took was Imitrex, which is Sumatriptan, which is this. So this is just a generic version of Imitrex. So Sumatriptan Imitrex is the brand name. So Imitrex was the first prescription migraine drug I took. Then I would say about 5 years ago, I was in France and I actually had a migraine that lasted about 3 days. And that one I believe was triggered by stress and also black tea. So yeah, the first migraine I had, the wine cheese party, I mean, wine, cheese, bread, these things can all trigger a migraine. The one I had in France was actually, we were moving. So there was a lot of stress of like selling all our stuff. And I remember having a cup of black tea that morning. So I think it was a combination of stress and black tea, because I do notice like sometimes black tea will just trigger them. So I definitely avoid black tea. So yeah, I was going on this 3-day migraine, and finally we were like, you know what, screw it. We're going to the emergency room. So I went in, they gave me an IV, rehydrated me, gave me some strong painkillers, took care of it. It was great. But the doctors in the ER recommended that I went to see a neurologist. So I did go see a neurologist in France, and I can't really remember a lot of what that doctor said. They did explain kind of like how like the blood vessels in your brain, like whether they're like dilated or constricted, like I can't even remember which it is. Somebody comment down below. They talked about that, but then they also said, you know, migraines are weird. Everybody has different triggers. Could be food. It could be something related to like the weather and humidity. It could be hormonal. It could be stress. It could be sleep, all these different things. So that doctor recommended, you know, just becoming very self-aware, just taking note of when I get a migraine, like what did I eat before it? Did I have enough sleep? Was I stressed, etc. And that doctor also gave me 2 different drugs. So we got another version, like similar to Imitrex. This is Relpax. So Imitrex is Sumatriptan, Relpax is Eletriptan. And yes, this is the French version. Got my French drugs here. And then the doctor also gave me a prescription for this, Bi-Profenid, which is Ketoprofen. So these boxes are both in French. So the Bi-Profenid, Ketoprofen, I would assume it's just Ketoprofen in English, I'm not sure. So with these drugs, I can't remember exactly what the doctor said, but I'm pretty sure she said, try the Relpax first. If that's not enough, then go for this one. 'Cause yeah, I think this is a stronger one, and I do believe it is pretty strong. And I do actually have 2 boxes of this, and they're both pretty full, so I don't think I ever really took that much. Both of those definitely did make me feel weird afterwards. I just felt like with all of these prescription migraine drugs, I always just felt like a zombie for a couple days after. I always felt very sensitive to temperatures, again, the taste and smell thing, and just like really tired. They just totally knocked me out for a couple days. So yeah, that was all the stuff I tried in France. Since we've moved back to America, I've obviously tried Excedrin Migraine, and this works pretty well for me. I do tend to avoid this because I do find that if I get a migraine and I take this, it will usually trigger another migraine a couple days later. So I do not want like the rebound headaches, the rebound migraines. So I generally do avoid that. Another thing that I have tried, which I don't actually have here to show you, is something called a Cefaly device, C-E-F-A-L-Y. I believe this was developed in Europe. It's a TENS device, like one of these things that like, you know, transmits electricity into your body. You look like somebody from like Star Trek. One of those space shows. Basically this device that kind of wraps around, or maybe it goes around the back, I can't remember, but you feel like slight pulses and it's kind of tingly. People said it worked great. I tried it. It was not covered by insurance. It was $350. And we were like, you know what? I don't care if I use this and it can, you know, prevent migraines or treat them, whatever, it's worth the money. I sent it back because I felt like that actually was triggering migraines for me. I know a lot of people have talked about having success with this device. It did not work for me. Okay, so that's all the stuff I've tried in the past that I don't really use anymore. That's the stuff on this side. All the stuff on this side in front of me is stuff I do to sort of prevent migraines and also to treat them. So obviously, like I said, I try to get enough sleep. I try to drink enough water. I try not to get super stressed out because I know if I am lacking sleep or if I'm really stressed or if I'm dehydrated, I can definitely get a migraine. As I said, I avoid black tea because that can definitely trigger them for me. I don't really drink now anyway because I just feel terrible. I'm not 21 anymore, I'm 34, so now I get a terrible hangover for like 2 days. So I don't really drink in general, but the big food I avoid is wheat. I don't know if it's necessarily a gluten thing that is triggering migraines for me, or if it's like the carbohydrate structure in wheat. I don't know. There's something funky with wheat and it will absolutely trigger a migraine and it will be hell for 2 or 3 days. And I can't give up 2 or 3 of my days for a migraine. So in addition to avoiding certain things, there are things I take to prevent migraines, and one of them is magnesium. So I take magnesium glycinate every night. This is the brand I'm on right now. I really like this brand, this Pure Encapsulations brand. They do pretty good products. So I take 3 of these. Each of these has 120 milligrams of magnesium glycinate. So I take 3 every night before bed. So that's 360 milligrams of this. Sometimes, in addition to that, I will make this natural calm drink. And this is a magnesium drink. I think this is magnesium citrate. Yes, magnesium citrate. So 2 teaspoons of this has 325 milligrams of magnesium. I probably do at least 2 teaspoons. So yeah, I make sure I get enough magnesium. Funny enough, I do sometimes notice when I take this, I will get a slight headache from it. Never a full-blown migraine, just a slight little weird headache, but the next day I always feel fine. Like I might go to bed with a tiny headache, but never anything super, super terrible. Another thing I have been doing recently, just because I'm really into this like juicing phase and I've got my juicer out anyway, and I will be doing a juicing video in a couple weeks. I've been juicing a lot of stuff, but one thing in particular I have been juicing is turmeric. Turmeric is very anti-inflammatory, and I think just for like prevention, it's helping to not have migraines, which leads me to a product that I recently discovered that I hope, fingers crossed, is like my new migraine cure. So one of my friends actually owns a health food store and she gave me some samples of this. So this is the Curamin Headache Relief Plus Caffeine. So, and then I also bought this one from her. So this is just the Curamin Headache Relief. This one does not have caffeine. So both of these are basically like turmeric supplements. Like curcuma is like the thing in turmeric that's very anti-inflammatory. So both of these are, you know, it's all about the turmeric. These work great. I actually had a really bad headache, really bad migraine like 2 days after she gave me this stuff. And I took it and like an hour and a half later, I was a totally normal functioning human being. So yeah, really, really good stuff. I've only tried the one with the caffeine, but my husband had a really bad headache a couple weeks ago. I gave him this and it was gone in like an hour. So I'm hoping this may be my new, like, not crazy intensive, like pharmaceutically migraine headache cure. All right, so in addition to my curcuma supplements, another thing I always have to do when I get a migraine is put on my super cool ice pack, my Velcro ice pack. So I either put this here, like on my forehead, or over my eyes, or I'll put it on the back of my neck. I always keep this in the freezer. I'm always ready. If I feel I'm getting a migraine, if I get that weird vision, I will immediately grab this. If it feels like intense enough, then I'll take some type of medication. In the past, it would have been an Excedrin right away. Now it would be this Curamin supplement. And I would just go in bed, close the shutters, close the blinds, close the curtains, everything, get into bed, put this on my forehead. And then if this is on my forehead, then I would also take a sleep mask and put it on my eyes just to black everything out. And just lay there super, super still and just like rest and just try to like let any stress go and just try to knock this sucker out. Usually I stay in bed for a couple hours. And usually that helps. You know, I'll drink a bunch of water when I take the medication, and usually after 2 hours, it's okay. A couple other things that I've tried, I'm not really sure if they help, but I don't think they're doing any harm. I have a couple topical products. So one is a CBD balm. This is the Charlotte's Web Hemp Infused Balm. And then this one is Dr. Bronner's Arnica Menthol Organic Magic Balm. So I've tried both of these. For both of these, I would just put some, you know, on my temples, the back of my neck, my shoulders, just try to like massage it in a little bit. Maybe it is related to tight muscles and like tension in my back and neck. So I do try to like massage that out. Another thing I do know, actually, I think a masseuse told me this before. If you have a lot of like, if you can feel a lot of tension, like a lot of like tenderness maybe, like between your fingers, this can trigger migraines. So like right now I'm not feeling anything. Well, right there it's a little bit like lumpy. It's a little bit hard. So she recommended if I'm getting a migraine, like if I have a migraine, to just like massage in between my fingers and also just like massage my fingers. And I remember her doing this kind of like twisting motion, kind of like twisting and like working my way up each finger. So that's another thing I do. You know, when I'm in bed with my ice pack, I will do this little like massage for my hands. This is another product I recently got, but I haven't really tried it that much. This is called Migraine. This is a Magnesium Oil Roll-On. So usually I'll, you know, put some of this, like again, temples, neck, shoulders. I don't know if it's helping, maybe. And finally, one other thing I have tried that I didn't really have the greatest luck with is a supplement called Butterbur. I think it's Butterbur. I talked to a lady at Whole Foods who worked in like the health department at Whole Foods, and she recommended this. I tried it. I didn't really feel like it did much. I love all of like these herbal remedies, but I think with this one, I think I remember her saying in order for it to be the most effective, it was something you would have to take every day to sort of prevent migraines from happening. It wasn't just like, okay, you got a migraine, here, take this. And I remember it being quite expensive. So that was why I didn't jump on the Butterbur train. At least that's what I remember. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. So yeah, that is everything in my world about migraines. I think everything. I'm probably forgetting something. If I do, I will leave it in the description down below. Anywho, if you have migraines, I am so sorry to hear that. My heart goes out to you. Migraines suck. They're absolutely debilitating. I hate them. And I feel like for people who have never experienced them, they don't quite understand it. And yes, I know what it is like to have people look at you and be like, oh, you have a migraine. Oh yeah, you just don't want to do this or that or whatever. No, migraines are a real thing, and they're weird and they're mysterious and they're super annoying, and everybody has different triggers. You know, we all are sensitive to certain things. We all have different stresses and circumstances in life. So it's a very hard thing to really pinpoint like what is causing them for you. Anywho, if you are a migraine sufferer, I would love to hear what has worked for you. I would love to hear about what you have tried. Yeah, like go crazy in the comment section down below, because this is something, obviously it affects me, it affects tons of people, and it's really, really frustrating. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.